Our next stage here is we've set our panel up, and we're going to use this as a template to cut our piece of steel, and then we're going to work with it from there. So we made a template here based off of our panel, and then I tried to color code it in the manner that we've got all our holes for stuff like the window track, the metal panel, and the plastic panel, and then along with marking up where the hardware is fastened, like the door handle and the window crank mechanism and stuff. So we cut out a piece of metal here, and that's what we're going to start with, and we're going to put that onto the door, and we're going to start shaping things out here. So we trim this panel up, get her to fit in there. Had to take some material off the end, and I ended up taking too much material off, and I had to put some back on the top there. So we got this fitted back in, and we're leaving this edge here right now. We're going to leave that because we need one of the edges off of our template so that we can transfer all of our information onto this panel. So if things go well, we've got our template on top there. And what we want to do is we want to match up this edge. That's why we haven't cut this edge yet. I marked it to be cut, but I want to leave it right now so that we can match up our edge with the template and transfer some of our information that we got on here onto that plate. So this is where we trimmed the bottom, took some material off the bottom, and we took some material off the end there to make that panel fit. And now we're trying to get our components to fit here. So we've bolted down the window operator, and here it is on the other side. So we left this side here. We matched that up along the side of the door as best we could. I also made some reference marks at the top, try and keep this consistent, and line it up with this mark here. And then there was another mark right in behind the plate. And when I drilled that hole out, that's what I'm using to kind of hold this on here temporary, so that we could get some temporary screws in. And then once we've got this fastened on, then we can get our template on there, check our holes, and try and line everything up as best we can. So we fit this panel on here, and the factory metal was about to there, so it still had these two holes in there, and that's what I used to line it up. So I put the panel on, put those two in, and then I just went around with the drill and drilled out the holes and tapped them and put these bolts in. So then what'll happen is when we remove that panel, I'll tack some nuts on the other end, and that'll hold the panel on. So this panel looks good. Now I'll have to use the template to find them other holes for the plastic style panel, which is like there, and it's got these little hooks in here, little metal spring hook kind of thing. So I'll locate the holes for that and see if we can't fit that on next. Now we transfer that template back on here, and we're going to drill our holes in here, and then we'll take the template off, and we're going to find out what size those holes are based on our old metal here, and then we'll drill those out and we'll try and fit that panel. So we put on this plastic panel. Looks like we got led astray a little bit. Again, the factory metal is about to here, so we had to redo this hole up here, but the one down in the bottom would have remained the same. And so if we look here, it looks pretty good, pretty consistent there from this side. But as we move down, it's shifted too far down. You can see there's too much space here. And also in the bottom, if we were to look and compare, there's where our edge is. This needs to be up by, I don't know, a little over 1/8 of an inch, I think, maybe even 1/4. So we'll have to do some reworking here. But if we look at this part, this looks pretty consistent. Okay, so we moved the hole up a little bit in the corner here to raise this panel, make it a little more consistent all the way along. Then what we'll do is we'll run a straight line from either corner, from there to there, and we'll make sure that these center ones are also consistent. Finding out that part of our problem is we still haven't trimmed this panel to sit flush with the door here, and that's what's forcing this corner out, and that's also those little push pins that are going in there. That's why it's not setting in there tight. So hopefully we've got the majority of our holes all set and lined up here. Now we can trim this edge on the panel, and while we're at it, I've got a drill, and I drilled that hole in there for bolting the panel on. So I do think that other than if I drill a couple holes here for the handhold, I do think that's going to cover both sets of factory panels and all the holes required to hold them on.